Hi, VJ. This is Michael. Thank you for doing your speaking and writing practice yesterday. You are making me busy. But that's a good thing, right? Because the more you practice, the more problems you can find out about, and then you can revise and change and improve those weaknesses. Therefore, your speaking and writing gets a lot better. So today I'm giving you comments on a writing integrated writing practice test and also an independent speaking practice test that you sent me, right? So let's take a look first at the writing area. So I gave you a score of 3.25 out of 5, 21 points out of 30. And I'm going to show you a couple of things. It looks like there's one area I want to see if you can make some improvements in, and that's paraphrasing. Okay, so let's take a look at the second paragraph. See, the first issue is about attending all the meetings. And the first issue is, I would probably say whether or not employees should. If you want to state that main idea to kind of frame the reading and the listening passage, I would do it like this. The first issue is whether or not employees should attend all the meetings. And then you have to put the period there so you don't have that comma splice. And say the reading passage claims blah, 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 right? So I think you're having some sentence structure issues when you're introducing the sources, and this is another one. So you have the first issue, the second issue, you might say, on supplementary readings. You might say something like this. And this is where you're having the problem. Then you have comma argues the author in the reading passage. But when you're introducing the main point as a topic sentence to frame the paragraph, the voice marker is not needed. So we'll put the period here, and then this is what I would do right here. And then you might say workers you have should go through workers should go through all the documents main and maybe minor details. So the workers should read the main and minor details in all the documents to increase their productivity. And this is where I'm going to put here, argues the author in the reading passage. So that's where you need to work a little bit more. You need to get more comfortable with them putting the voice markers in there. Now, you can put these voice markers maybe at the end of the phrase you're paraphrasing. You can even put them in the beginning of the sentence that you're paraphrasing, and maybe even break up that sentence into two parts. But So then let's look at what I did. So the second issue focuses on supplementary readings the employees are presented with. To me, that just kind of frames the main point of the reading and the listening passage. The workers should read the main and minor details in all the documents to increase their productivity, comma, argues the author in the reading passage. So then you got that voice marker which connects to this paraphrase that you put here, or this summary. And then this is also okay here. Now what you can do is, I think if you look at the rubrics, where is it here? I'm putting you in the 3 range. If you look at integrated writing, let's take a look at what it says. You have errors in usage and or grammar may be more frequent. It may result in noticeably vague expressions or obscure meaning in conveying ideas and connections. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see how the information is connected to the reading or how the information is connected to the listening because you're having problems with paraphrasing. Okay? Now I want you to go to YouTube and I want you to check out this lesson at my blog. It's called Better TOEFL Scores. Here's the key words. It's called TOEFL Reporting Verbs. I want you to check out that lesson, and that will give you some practice with paraphrasing information from reading and listening passages. Okay, so I think that'll be a good practice exercise for you. And I think also if you go back to the web page where you completed the practice test, I want you to read the model. The model is 30 points out of 30 here, and really pay attention to how I've embedded the voice markers into the sentences in a natural way, in a way that accurately, effectively acknowledges the information from the reading and the listening passage. All right, so those are my comments on the integrated writing. Now, if you want me to go over your essay in more detail, you can schedule a TOEFL private lesson with me. Right below my name, you can see where it says TOEFL private lesson, and you can click on that link, make your payment, and I can spend an hour correcting this essay in more detail, showing you exactly how you need to change the writing in order to get 30 out of 30 points. Okay, so let's get started with your integrated speaking. And I actually have the rubrics here. I use these for reference, so I'm going to look at the general description, delivery, language use, topic development. As I hear your practice test, I'm going to try to figure out where you are right now. So you're taking one of my listening practice tests. This is genius. What you've done here is you took one of my lectures from my online TOEFL course. I have over 40 lectures, and you practice summarizing and then explaining that information. That's very good practice for integrated speaking task number 4, which is a lecture, right? So let's see how you did with this particular one. So I'm going to listen to the whole thing one time, then the second time I'm going to give you some comments.
The professor is talking about the primary source of energy that we receive from the sun, and this energy is divided into heat and light forms. The heat energy is taken up indirectly by the animals, as this energy warms up the surrounding environment of the animals, which is necessary for them to sustain their life. Whereas the plants take up the light energy, plants contain a pigment called chlorophyll, which consumes the light energy and absorbs the carbon dioxide from the environment. In that way, it nourishes the whole plant and releases the oxygen that is necessary for the human life. Moreover, it produces the carbohydrates, which contains the sugar as the final product, which even a type of other glucose. So in that way the professor explains.
Okay, so I think overall it sounds like you have a pretty complete and accurate response, and you're able to kind of show some of the important parts of the lecture as they were discussed by the speakers. So if I look at topic development, topic development seems to be pretty strong. Yeah, sustained contains relevant information. I think that's pretty good. It sounds like your language use is also good. You're having some slight delivery issues. I think that's probably the main problem here. All right, let's listen to it one more time. So my guess right now is between 2.5 and 3 on this particular practice test, which probably puts you, I don't know, between 2.5 and 3. I'm going to say between maybe 17 and maybe 22 points out of 30 on this thing. Okay, let's go one more time.
The professor is talking about the primary source of energy that we receive from the sun, and this energy is divided into heat and light forms. The heat energy.
Okay, so I like how you have your introduction, which kind of explains the purpose of the lecture. I like how you're using simple present tense verbs to explain the information.
Is taken up indirectly by the animals, as this energy warms up the surrounding environment of the animals.
In the environment of the animals. You had a little bit of trouble with that word. Now, the one thing I think you're making some progress on this. I want you to work on varying your tone a little bit more than you are. So at the end of each thought group, your tone goes up slightly. Then when you get to the end of the sentence, your tone needs to fall. So I think you can work a little bit more on your intonation. But your pacing seems to be pretty good. You just need to adjust that tone as you're speaking.
Which is necessary for them to sustain their life. Whereas the plants take up the light energy, plants contain.
Instead of whereas, I might say however. It sounds like you're kind of beginning a new sentence there. Say, however, or on the other hand. So I think a more formal transition word, not a dependent clause connector. Maybe something like however, on the other hand, is going to work better there than whereas.
A pigment called chlorophyll, which consumes.
You want to say which consumes. So that's actually an S, not a Z there. Which consumes
The light energy and absorbs the carbon dioxide from the environment. In that,
again, from the environment. So some of the multisyllabic words you're having a little bit of trouble with, some of those academic words.
way it nourishes the whole plant and releases the oxygen that is necessary for the human life. Moreover, it produces the carbohydrates.
Moreover, according to the professor, it produces the carbohydrates. So don't forget to use those voice markers throughout your integrated response. Why? Because it marks it as a source other than your own. So this is how we summarize. We summarize from someone else's point of view. Now you are acknowledging the listening passage, I think, but you need to continue to do that. Not every single sentence, but maybe every other sentence or every third sentence you want to put those voice markers in there.
Which contains the sugar as the final product, which even a type of other glucose. So in that way the professor explains.
Okay, so you put the voice marker at the end. That's a good strategy. So I think overall my score is pretty accurate, 2.5 to 3, maybe between 17 and 22 points. I think the main thing here with topic development, maybe just be careful and make sure you're putting sufficient number of voice markers throughout the response to acknowledge the other person's ideas, and that makes it a summary, and it also makes your speaking more formal when you do that. I think the biggest issue we've been dealing with this, I've been talking to you about this, the biggest issue for you looks like delivery. And until you can solve that and speak a little more naturally, it's going to be difficult for you to get over 3 or 3 to 3.5. So that's the area you want to work on. For example, right now, you can concentrate a lot on what's called intonation. That's pronunciation lessons 36 through 40. Really focus a lot in that area. And remember, you can send me pronunciation practice. Right? So maybe one day you might send me some speaking practice, and then the next day you can send me pronunciation practice. I really think that's going to be a good idea for you, so I can start giving you more feedback with your pronunciation. All right? Consider that, because at the end of every pronunciation lesson, you will see there's a voice recording that you can practice. You can send me that voice recording to get some feedback. All right, keep up the great work. You're doing a great job. You're working so hard. I mean, you're the only student this month who sends me speaking and writing practice the same day. And you're making me busy, but I think it's okay. It's good. I want to be busy. I want to help you. And I think that you will continue to make improvements. So, whatever you do, don't give up. Keep practicing, and you will continue to make improvements.